Now, if you can't change a tire, you're dead to me.
Wow. That was intense.
There's always been a topic, like, as far as kids nowadays, because all these kids nowadays don't know what the world is out for them. I didn't know what was out there in the world. I thought it was gonna be all hunky dory after high school. Get out in the oil field, make money, make babies, and that was gonna be it. But it is a heads up kind of class would be kind of cool. Being able to do simple things like that where you don't have to rely on somebody else is, I feel like, something that they need to teach.
I just feel like it's hard to kind of teach that when everybody's situation is different.
Yeah.
It may make sense to someone else. You're like, I don't have to live through that, so why would I need to learn that?
I can pay someone to do this for me.
Yeah.
Why should I? So you're taking away the credibility of people who could be in a business class, right, learning to be able to do better for themselves financially, to never have to step behind a tire.
But that's another thing. Even if you are financially stable, we know that that's not a given anymore. You have people that one day they're millionaires, the next day they're dead broke.
Right, but you can't always live life with the fear of risk.
But it's not a fear. It's more like a just in case thing to me. Like, I feel like it would be good to have just in case this were to happen.
If you change a tire one time when you were 15 years old because they taught you in a class, and now you're 56 because you just went bankrupt, do you remember how to change that tire?
I believe I would. I still remember how to.
But how many times did you do that? How many times did you change the tire?
Unfortunately, in my life, I have yet to have to change a tire.
But how many times have you gone through?
I still remember how to. My dad told me, you find a point. You find your lift point. Usually on cars, it's
how many times did he tell you that?
Once.
Because you have a really bad memory, so I'm super surprised at that.
We're not talking about
audience. He has a really bad memory, but I do agree. Like, I don't remember everything I was taught in high school. I don't remember everything I was taught before that. Are there some things that have stuck with me over the years? Yes, and so yeah, I do think, like Jesus said, I do think like you could be like, I would never need to know this. Do some people do? Yeah, of course. Would it technically be good to help? Yeah, it would be good to know everything. I just think there's so many resources today that I don't know if you need to teach that in high school. Like, if you want to learn how to change a tire, you could YouTube it. But if you want to know calculus, it's a little bit harder for me to YouTube. That's my thing, is like, teach things in school that I can't log on to a YouTube channel and learn.
A person who is born silver spoon never had to lift anything in their life. So this person is driving. Tire blows out. There's no service. There's nothing. The only thing that's saving him to make it where there's service is being able to change a tire. Being that we're in a society now where it's not really, it's hard to find somebody who's gonna, give you a hand.
It's hard because it's the 100% the way you're looking at life itself. You're right. If I'm stuck on the one road, literally nobody's willing to stop, and I don't have service, and my car broke down, and that happens to happen to me, and I don't know how to do a tire, I am probably 100% in that certain circumstance messed up. But do I think every person that drives by is gonna drive by me and like not help me? I don't see it that way. I do agree 30 years ago is 100% you needed to know how to change a tire. I don't really know a lot of places you're going to be on a lone road no one's at with no service whatsoever. Technology is advancing to the point that is just the way it goes.
The things we need to know are changing. I guess the basics.
That is true.
But it's hard. It's hard to.
It is hard, but I still feel like.
You can really say that about anything. Like,
yeah,
let's say this situation happened like this, and this happened like this.
I get you.
Let's say you got a blood clot. You needed to know how to tape off your leg and stop the blood going from your leg to your heart. Am I supposed to teach that to you in high school? No, you can't be prepared for everything that happens in life, and you can't live life in fear of a risk. So I do think life is changing to the fact that I don't really necessarily think they need to teach how to balance a checkbook anymore. I have a bank app that does that for me 100%. When my parents would always teach me, keep your receipts, and then write it all out. Right, my bank account shows me every single thing I purchased, where I purchased it at.
Right.
I don't need to keep receipts anymore. There's things that are eventually changing.
So day comes. How do you feel like day comes? Everybody's fine and dandy, blah, 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 blah. and something happens where technology is halted.
Are we talking about like apocalypse, like technology
He's
like
down.
dies, or are we talking about like halted as if we've reached the maximum technology we can eventually
No,
invent?
technology is done. Like somebody flicks a switch somewhere, and it's over.
It's such a huge aspect of our lives. To lose it is basically like losing a limb. It is. It puts us in such a bad position. But to be able to teach someone in high school that 100% that they're gonna remember.
Like I took the motor side in high school. Like you went to some warehouse. I don't even know. It was off of 2nd Street here, and I learned how to change tires. I learned how to do brake jobs. I learned how to do that, and I found it interesting.
Here's the thing. Not every kid has that experience.
Right.
As in, I only live with my mom. I live with my mom, my granny, my sister. My dad lived in another state.
Shout out Granny
Shout out Granny and Helen. Okay, so
and Jamie.
and Jamie. Do you think my mom's gonna teach me how to put oil in the car? She could teach me, but that's the only person. But is she gonna teach me how to change a tire? Is she gonna teach me all the manly stuff? A lot of times when I ask my grandmother stuff, she's like, Google it. It's gotten to the point where she says, just Google it.
Like,
Why don't you
Google.
just
Google.
Google it? So the thing about it is, not everybody gets that experience. It's very lucky if you have that experience. It's just like you were saying about common sense. They need to have a class about common sense. It's all about your experience, because I was growing up a certain way. I think I was literally grew up with, some common sense. But some kids are grown up different. They're in a different situation. Some great, some bad. It's not going to get... It just comes with life experience and those choices that they make as they grow up to realize, oh, I should have did this differently. What I'm just trying to say is just all about your experience and the choices you make. If 33-year-old you travels back to talk to the 18-year-old you, and you say, hey, you need to go to college, what is 18-year-old you going to think at that moment? Because you're 18 years old, you're in a different mindset as being 33. 33, you're like, man, I need to go to school. I need to support my stepkids and all that. 18, like, I'm ready to get out of high school. I'm ready to go do my thing.
I'm going back to 18-year-old me. I don't care where I see you, where I meet you. It's going to be I'm going to try to think of when was I alone, right? When was the best time for me to get to talk to this guy? And then I'm going to go back, and he's going to be like, you're stupid. You're crazy. Get out of here. You don't. You resemble me, but I don't think it's me. Then I'm going to whip out my ID. And I'll be like, this is me. I am not playing. And that's when you go into, you have a scar on your left butt cheek that you got from doing this, and this. Something that only I would know. You know what I'm saying? And then that person is going to be like, holy crap.
No, you're just seeing it through your end. Like, see it to someone that's not lived through what you've lived through. You're not gonna get what you're trying to tell yourself. Like, it's impossible.
Yeah, because is young boy gonna look at him and be like, he thinks he couldn't do it, but I can do it.
Right.
I don't have to go his route because he quote unquote young boy, he failed at what my plan is. I'm gonna execute my plan.
My original plan was not to go to school. My original plan was to go do what every stereotypical male in West Texas does. Get out of school, work in the oil field, make babies, and live your life that way.
So we're saying, will young boy say, I can do that route? Yeah, he says it's going to be better, but I know I can go this route and I can succeed at this route because I am an 18-year-old with this mentality. I know I can succeed here. He might have, but I can succeed going to the oil field, making my babies, and living the rest of my life happy, even though he claims it didn't work out for him.
I pray to God that he listens. That's all I can say. I mean, you can't really go back on that. Yeah. You can't. But I pray to God he listens. And if not, I'm using that same time trial thing. 5 minutes later, didn't I tell you to do something?
Wait a second. Did you guys hear what I just heard? Correct me if I'm wrong, but Boyle said this earlier. If you change a tire one time when you were 15 years old because they taught you in the class, and now you're 56 because you just went bankrupt, do you remember how to change that tire?
I believe I would. I believe I would. I still remember how to.
How many times did you do that? How many times did you change the tire?
Unfortunately, in my life, I have yet to have to change a tire.
But how many times have you gone through?
I still remember how to. My dad told me, you find a point. You find your lift point. Usually on cars, it's
how many times did he tell you that?
Once.
And then just a few moments later, he says this.
Like, I took the motor side in high school. Like, you went to some warehouse. I don't even know. It was off of 2nd Street here. And I learned how to change tires. I learned how to do brake jobs. I learned how to do that. And I found it interesting.
So you only learned to change a tire once, huh? So as always,
stay fresh.
Stay hungry.
Stay driven.
And stay humble.